Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everybody. First, I want to say thank you for joining us. I know we're in some highly unusual times, and time is very valuable to each and every one of you. So, my name is Justin Gold. I'm the distribution sales manager for Hikvision. I manage the relationship between us and the ADI branches. My role is to make sure that we have the product to the branches that you need, help you guys get pointed in the right direction, make sure the branches, the outside sales folks, the RASs, the national account managers, all know what resources are available to them today. Today we're going to talk about our highly accurate thermographic camera solution. You're going to hear it referred to as HAT multiple times throughout the day. As Mr. Masson said, please type any questions into the chat box and we will do a Q&A at the end. And I'm going to hand things over to Michael Hendrix, who is our Director of Sales Engineering, and he's going to run through everything today.
All right, thank you, Justin. And as Justin said, I'm excited to be here. I want to thank everybody as well for coming and joining us today. So good morning, afternoon, good evening. I'm sure it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world right now. I want to also thank ADI for giving us this opportunity to present. As we are entering this pandemic, as we talk about and hear the news articles about COVID-19, we have also seen a lot more of a trend towards highly accurate thermographic cameras, or using thermographic cameras in different environments to, get back to work safely, reopen up safely. And so we have seen a lot of conversations around highly accurate thermal cameras. And of course, that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm excited to be here. And as we go through this, please, again, I do like a very interactive. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type it in as we go. So before we get started, I do want to also say that, these are HATS cameras, or highly accurate thermographic cameras. They are not medical devices. By definition, the FDA has put out what a true medical device is. The FDA has also released different regulations, maybe lowering different restrictions to allow for the highly accurate thermographic cameras to be used in screening applications, as long as they meet certain requirements and there's a secondary screening that could be set up or used. So again, we do follow the rules that are listed within the FDA regulations and what they've recently put out. And we've actually seen recently that the FDA has said, thermographic cameras can be used in situations like this to open up safely. And again, we do meet all those guidelines that they have specified as well. But one more time, these are not medical devices. They're not intended to be that. We're not depicting it as medical devices. We are measuring the skin surface temperature, however, which can lead to a secondary screening of your choice. Again, once it's in the business, it's your decision, their decision on how they're going to take additional action. So as we're going to go through this, we do have several different options for thermographic cameras. They do come in different sizes, both bullets and turrets, as well as a handheld model or a couple of handheld models. And we have also added some additional products that include a temperature screening terminal, as well as a metal detector with a thermographic camera on top. So all of the products are designed to be higher efficiency level, detect the skin temperature without interrupting the flow of traffic in too big of a way, as well as increase that distance between these two of these. So the first thing that we should do, I'm going to start out with a quick video, and I'm going to go ahead and show this video, and we'll let it just play through here. Okay, so in that video, there's a couple of different things that I'd like to take a look at. The first part of the video that I want to point out as we look at this still image from the video, the first thing I want to point out is Hikvision uses a specialized algorithm. We do have the two cameras. We do have a thermal sensor as well as an optical 4-megapixel imager. And using the 4-megapixel camera and our face detection algorithms. So we're using some advanced analytics for face detection algorithms and actually making sure that we're measuring the forehead area of a person. So as you can see with this person, the entire area, usually with thermographic cameras, the entire area is being measured by temperature. And you can see in this scene the whiter or the whiter colors are going to be hotter hot spots. And with thermographic cameras, they usually will be drawn to the highest temperature in the area. But partnering that green square around this gentleman's face, we actually are capable of making the measurement within the forehead area. So we're using some advanced face detection algorithms to make sure the temperature measurement is in the right place. So people carrying cups of coffee are not being inadvertently dinged as abnormal temperatures, or hot cups of tea and so on. And I have some other videos I can show you in a little bit later. So this is another shot of the visible light camera. So as I said, this is bispectrum. So a couple things I want to review on this particular image. This image is showing the visible light side. And as you can see, we can see temperature on both the thermal sensor image as well as the visible light image. And in this case, the gentleman was rubbing his head rapidly, trying to elevate his skin surface temperature, which gave us a visual red square box around the forehead. So this gives us a alert, and we do have different levels of alert. And this is a setting that you can set. We have a pre-alarm as well as an alarm state. So you could even see maybe a yellow box. A green box is good, yellow box is questionable, and a red box means definitely abnormal temperatures. The other thing I want to point out on this particular scene is the blue square that you're seeing. And if we look at the thermal image one more time and the 4-megapixel visible light image, you see the blue square is actually the measurement area, or the thermal image or thermal sensor. Since the thermal imager can vary from very low resolution to like QSIF to SIF resolution, it is going to be a smaller field of view, and the temperature measurement area is going to be within this blue square box. Again, you set it within the blue square box, but this is a great reference to where we're making the temperature measurements, so you can see it on the visible light side. And this image, I like this one. As you saw, this was a whole group of people walking through very quickly. There is, within the camera itself, there is a face detection algorithm that can detect up to 30 faces at a time. It does allow for people to walk through very quickly. You can see how quickly the temperature was actually populated on the screen as they walked by. So this is a function within the camera that can actually detect up to 30 faces at a time. And depending on the environment where we see larger amounts of screening, right? Traditionally, when we're going to do a temperature screening or skin surface temperature screening, it's going to usually be a controlled checkpoint or area into a building. However, in a larger venues that happen to be maybe sports venues or inside sports arenas, concerts, casinos, they may want to just general observation of an area. And the general observation of an area allows so that people can come in free flow without really interrupting their time. The face recognition will allow us to detect and measure temperature on several people up to 30 at a time, and really just draw our attention to the one or two people that may need a secondary screening that do come in. But we're trying not to interrupt the patrons from coming inside as well. So yes, it's capable of doing 30, but we're seeing a lot more applications when it comes to businesses that they're traditionally screening one at a time, single file line, or even two lanes of traffic coming in. So all of the thermographic cameras we have first, the thermographic camera I want to look at is going to be our turret camera here. So the turret camera, as you can see, is well, I guess we'll go there. All of the thermographic cameras that we have do support an accuracy level of plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is one of the pieces of information that we, as Hikvision, we do very good job of our accuracy level within the thermal camera's temperature range. So plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit by itself, with no black body device needed. So the black body device that we've heard about from other solutions can add to the complexity of an install, can add to the cost overall, and we're able to achieve the plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit without a black body calibration device in the scene. This is an optional function for us. We do support black body device, but we can achieve plus or minus 0.9 without a black body device. You can see how quickly the temperatures were detected as people were walking by. And again, the 30 faces at a time for the face detection as well as temperature measurement. And this gives us the opportunity, based off which camera you have. We do have a short range, which I believe the turret is going to be more of a short range contact, where the lens sizes will give us a particular distance away from the camera. So we do have a short range, a medium range, and a long range option for these. And these are the different camera choices that we'll look at in detail in just a little bit. So if we go to the next slide here, and clear my drawings, there we go. So inside, this is the turret version, and this is going to be both a medium range and a long range. And again, we talked about Hikvision has the bispectrum technology, so we're looking at the two different lenses on the front of this camera. You can see the two different lenses. One of them is going to be a 4 megapixel visible light or 4 megapixel image, as well as a thermal image. In the bullet, we have either a 6 millimeter or a 13 millimeter lens size here for the thermal image. You could also see that on the top here, there's actually a speaker. This is an audible warning that you could actually set up. So in our short range and medium range solution, which you saw this on the turret as well, there is a speaker that it will produce an audio alarm, like the temperature is abnormal, please check. Or we also have the a mask function as well. So if they're not wearing a mask or the face does not detect a mask, it could also audibly alert to say, please wear a mask. And then down below, and we'll finish off the smiley face here in a second, right? But down below, there's actually a light. And this light is actually going to shine or flash or be a constant on when an abnormal temperature is read as well. So this light can flash, this audio can come out, and we see this in a standalone operation as a security checkpoint, or there is maybe a podium of security controlling the entrance to the building itself through the elevators or into the hotel rooms or so on. So if a security guard is standing there and monitoring and seeing what the camera is actually producing, it would also, if he gets distracted or somebody stops him and says, hey, can you give me directions? Because as a security guard, you know where everything is, right? And can you give me directions to here? I can't find this. Or he's actually doing a temperature screening, secondary screening with a thermometer. he could still be alerted through audio, through a flashing light, that something has actually happened. And that's kind of the purpose of the speaker and the light. So it's a very good kind of function that we also have added to the cameras itself. I'm going to move this to the next page so I can get it there. All right. We also, and just looking at the rest of them, so we do have a turret version, we have a bullet version, and we do also have a handheld model here that makes more of a mobile, portable, or even temporary solution. All of these, the bullets and the bullet and the turret are both supported by our NVR. We do also support the 4200, our complementary software that goes along with the product. And all three of them could be mounted in a more permanent installation or temporary installation on a tripod. The tripod adapter, it's the same 1/4-20 screw size of a traditional camera tripod in the United States. And you can get the adapter for both the turret and the bullet. The handheld device actually has a tripod 1/4-20 screw hole already for it. So again, as we look at these, we're going to look at a couple of different solutions, but these are some of the highlights. Again, the audible alerts with the audio, as well as the no mask detection. So let's continue on. This is one of the solutions that we would have using the handheld camera. The handheld camera itself, by itself, does a plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit, or plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius. It is supported by the 4200 software, or we have something called the Hikvision app. And the Hikvision app can be used to visually monitor what the camera is seeing. If the camera is on a tripod, we could actually be able to do that, or our complementary software, the 4200. We've also seen an application for the handhelds as more of a mobile that could be walk around the building and or through the facilities. And we have also seen temporary installation where this is mounted on a tripod where maybe a school wants to reopen and give a play and put on a play, and so they're going to temporarily set up these temperature screening points as the parents and everybody comes in, and then move on from there. The next solution, which I would find is one of our most common solutions that we have out in the world right now, is a standalone camera by itself, either the bullet or the turret, on a tripod or permanently mounted, using software to be notified of an abnormal temperature alert. So with the actual camera themselves, the intelligence is in the camera, the face detection algorithms, the temperature algorithm, the 30 faces at a time. The camera could do all of this. If the camera has audio, it could audio alert. Or it could go back to the software, and we have something on the software that I'll show you in a second that also alerts you to that abnormal temperature, normal temperatures, abnormal temperatures, and that no mask that we talked about using just a regular PC. This is definitely one of the more common ones. We can add the NVR in here as well, the Hikvision's traditional I-Series NVR. And this is another opportunity, another solution that we have with the black body calibration device. So this is the same cameras, tripod, bracket, permanently installed, temporarily installed, using software, but we've added the black body calibration tool. And the black body calibration tool is to increase the accuracy level. So we go from a plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit to a plus or minus 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit using the black body calibration device. This is optional for the Hikvision solution. We've had great success without the calibration tool in a lot of our shootouts against competitors. We're right there along with them without having to use the calibration tool. But if you needed to make sure there is more accuracy, You wanted to decrease the possible secondary screenings that would take place. You could always add the black body calibration tool to increase that accuracy level to the solution. It does add a couple of different things we'll talk about in a little bit. I do want to show this real quick video. This is our entrance to our warehouse here. And so this is what it would look like as they come in. I'm going to stop this video just to talk to him, talk to what he's carrying in his hand. So as you see, one of the things I'd like to point out too, this is a side profile, and we do have some settings within the camera that you can set up for better side profiling, making sure that they're turned facing the camera well enough. But this is our warehouse team coming in to check in for the day. They're all coming in. They have to go to the time clock and actually clock in. But this allows us to scan as they're coming into work. The door is very close to where they're actually coming in. But the one thing I want to show you is the thing that he's carrying in his hand. You see there's an orangish color to what he's actually carrying in his hand here on the screen. And this actually is going to be a thermos. And inside the thermos, this is elevated to above 99.5. So I was able to put a color threshold in there, or a color to add to the image that shows me where the hotter points are. And this particular image is 99.5. It's within the detection range, but it's not actually drawing the temperature from the thermal camera, and that is because of our face detection algorithm. So I'll go ahead and let this play now. So as you can see, as the other ones come in. So this is a quick scan as the people come in. They will be able to clock in. We can get notification. I will change the actual threshold value as they start to come in so that we can start seeing the red faces. So now that it is in an alarm state, so now we would get some sort of notification. And so I want to show you what those notification looks like. So this is our 4200 software, and this is a quick video kind of showcasing the notifications that you can receive. Again, the same warehouse crew coming in. You can see he's got the orange thermos in his hand there. But now using the software, we can have a visual representation of the temperature, and in our case, the mask or no mask function. We will see that from the side profile, they're not wearing their mask all the way, or sometimes the mask algorithm doesn't necessarily trigger correctly. We can turn that off in the camera, keep it on. We'll also be able to do that in the software. What do you want to be alerted to? If mask is not going to be one of the requirements for the person, for the company, for that choice, we can actually turn off the mask alert option, as you can see here in the video. We will also be able to see some abnormal temperatures that would come up on the side, normal temperatures, abnormal temperatures. And if you look across the top of this dashboard, these are going to be the number of people screened. So this is our complementary software. It does actually help. It does actually, as a live monitoring situation. This is another form of notification as well that could happen. If you're not using the dashboard, you want to just use the pop-up monitor through the software. We do have the pop-up, which gives us both visible light and thermal image. It gives us kind of what happens, and it will actually allow us to go through a couple of additional the additional events, so we can see maybe the previous events. As you have the software open, all of this is, again, reviewable and to be able to go through. So we've had a lot of requests to be able to see who the person is, and that's what this pop-up would look like with the visible light as well as the thermal camera. And I want to go to the end. I did change the value, so it did eventually end up red. So you can see that an abnormal skin temperature would go to red. So other notifications now, Hike Connect. So using the camera by itself, we do have the Hike Connect app, which will give you a temperature alarm reading from the camera. The camera will send you a thermal image as well as a visible light image to showcase the event, that high temperature alarm event. You just saw an example of the IVMS 4200 software that can display that. And then we have an example of the email that would come from the NVR side, and that would give you a picture or image of what was happening. And the latest addition that we've added is on the iSeries NVR. So a lot of you, I hope all of you are Hikvision customers out there and have used our iSeries NVR. Using a new firmware for the iSeries NVR, we've incorporated the HAT cameras to showcase and actually detect the temperature or display the temperature on the live view screen. So this is me in my wonderful garage office here. As we are screening for temperature, you can see that the temperature can be displayed in the target detection window on the software. So if they have an existing iSeries NVR, they could start to utilize that local display and see the temperature, notifications. So, all right, let's see if we have any. Do you want to go through just a couple of questions before we move on to this? So, we usually call it a skin surface temperature measurement. Fever screening is not necessarily a word that we will call it as Hikvision. It has been called that in the field, but I think we like to stick with skin surface temperature as that is happening. And the plus or minus 0.9 degrees accuracy level in Fahrenheit is actually plus or minus 0.5 degrees in Celsius, as you saw on some of those screens. And we will be able to provide some of these this as a PDF form, and some of this information will be available at the end of this call. Okay. All right. So we will actually go ahead and continue on into some of the different models, and I see there's lots of questions, so keep them coming. As we go through and as we're starting to choose which one of the camera products we want to choose for the application, one of the I guess the factors to consider on which camera you're choosing, whether it be a camera or a handheld device, will be the distance and the detection distance itself. So how far away from the camera are we going to be making the temperature measurements? Where is the screening checkpoint? Are they going to have a funnel that they walk through? Is it going to be a queue that they actually filter into? Does it have to be mounted permanently? Can it be a handheld device as a temporary solution? Are there the overall price, of course, because thermographic cameras are a little bit more expensive when it comes down to it. And the longer distance cameras that could cover more area and detect from farther away, end up being a little bit more expensive. The other considerations is the handheld itself only scans one person at a time, and it does not have the face detection algorithm. So it is going to be susceptible to the other hotter temperatures around in the background or items they may be carrying, as well as turrets and bullets, of course, can do 30 detection faces at a time as people would walk through. We don't want to interrupt the traffic or flow. So these are all considerations that we would look at as we would go through the decision process of which camera we'd like to buy. All right, so here's a couple of the model numbers I want to point out to you at the model numbers themselves. There's a 3mm version, a 6mm version, and both of these are low resolution thermal images. And my annotate, there we go. So 3mm and a 6mm version here. Both of these are the low resolution 160 by 120 option. We have the 13 millimeter version, which translates into here. These are the corresponding model number parts. This is a medium resolution thermographic camera. You can see the detection difference is quite different between 3, 6, and 13, going 2.5, 5, and 8 to the far side of 5, 10, and 22 feet away from the camera. So all of these are going to be considered in where you're going to place the camera and how and where the temperature screening will take place. The handheld version is back to a low resolution. It does have a 6 millimeter lens, and you do want to be about 3 to 5 feet away from this. 3 to 6 feet, I think, is what we have. For the optional accessories, again, we have the part number for our black body calibration device. You can see that adds a lot of cost to the price of the experience. To increase the accuracy level, yes. It also increases the installation time and other factors, as the black body has to be mounted and within the field of view of the camera the whole time. So you now have 2 items to mount, 2 distances to worry about for direct line of sight. And if you are going to look to order and just use it temporarily or on a tripod, any of these do have support for the tripod, and the tripod adapters do not come with them. So you do want to go ahead and write down these tripod part numbers as well. So if you're going to put it on a tripod for the turret, you need the turret adapter, and for the bullet, you'll need the bullet adapter. Again, they are sold separately, so you need to buy that separately. And we do have a really nice tripod ourselves. Got some great legs on this tripod. So this will actually go to about up to about 8 or 9 feet total height for our tripod. So if there's a tripod you need to get a little bit higher distance out of, you may look at just a standard tripod option for you. And I think I need to clear my annotations. Here we go. All right. So let's take a closer look at the turret camera here. So just one more time for the turret camera: low resolution, accuracy level plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit. The detection distance 2.6 to 4.9 feet away from the camera. It does have the speaker for the audible alarm, as well as the light that we talked about for both the voice and the audio. A 4 megapixel fixed or optical image, as well as a 3 millimeter thermal sensor. And we'll go to the next slide. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. This is kind of the solution for the short range. And as a 3 millimeter turret camera, you can see we have a specific detection distance that we're looking for. The range for detection is going to be between 2.6 to 5 feet or 4.9 feet. The installation height is also considered to be about 5-foot height. So we do see the use of a tripod a lot. We have seen these mounted on a a podium. We have also seen like the rolling medical carts as an option, where they have these mounted onto one of those mobile kind of rolling medical carts that they can set up temporary checkpoints on. So we have seen this. You can see that the effective area though is kind of closer to the camera. So you're definitely going to have more of a fixed point that people are going to walk by when choosing this particular camera. For the 6 millimeter version, which I would call our mid-range version, the mid-range version of the camera, this one has a little bit wider detection area, anywhere from 4.9 feet to 4.9 to 9.8 feet away from the camera. It still has the same 4 megapixel camera, still low resolution sensor, but it does have 6 millimeter version. That's why it gives it a much better distance away from the camera. And if we look at what the camera looks like as a design standpoint, the medium range option is going to look like this. So it's detection range again 4 to 9 feet away from the camera itself. Installation height is going to be at that same level, where we are at about a 4.9 foot height. So again, we need to understand where we're going to mount this in order to achieve the accuracy we're looking for. If you do mount it up higher or lower, you may not achieve that same accuracy level that we're looking for, as the angle may be a little bit different. So we do have a kind of a fixed mounting area that we would recommend for you to use. And again, the wider detection area, so you can be farther away from the camera in this particular solution. And this is our 13 millimeter lens. So the 13 millimeter lens camera, this is what I would call our long range solution. It does have a higher resolution thermal sensor. Because it's longer range and higher resolution, it actually can detect more accurately a wider distance as well, or a better detection area for temperature measurements. The one thing I do want you to notice is that we are missing the speaker and the light from the long range version of this camera. This is going to be, because it's going to be more of maybe a permanently mounted situation, but we don't have the audible and alarm and speaker on the long range version. But because it's longer range, it has a much better ability to be permanently mounted and monitor multiple lines, for instance. As you can see, when we look at the detection area, it has a much wider detection area. And if we were to, choose our entry point, we could actually detect up to 2 lanes of traffic, 6 foot equally apart from each other at that 20 to 22 foot distance. So it does have a much better application for more of a permanent, as well as, we talked about the detecting 30 faces at a time. So we do see this as a much more long range solution in this regard. Because it does have a higher resolution sensor as well, so we do see that it can actually mount at a different height. So you can raise this camera up a little bit higher to the 5 to 8 foot range, is where we could mount this camera to get the same accuracy level that we're looking for. All right. And finally, our thermal handheld. The thermal handheld device is a single measurement at a time. It's one person at a time, so one person in the field of view at a time. There is no face detection algorithm, so if I am if I'm walking behind something or making a measurement and the background, maybe the light fixtures are hot, or we have a thermostat on the wall that could be hotter than my skin, or I'm carrying a cup of coffee or tea. This could also affect the measurement range. So we do want to, because there is no face detection, this is going to be much more precise of a measurement as one person at a time. If you have it mounted in the right angle, you can still have a free flowing traffic. It does have an 8 megapixel camera, visible light camera, as well as the low resolution thermal. It has a plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit accuracy level. Because of its mobile design, it is not compatible with the black body. So this does not support increasing the accuracy level using the black body. You can display both the thermal and optical view. We do have the support of an audible warning as well, if there is from the set it so that it could ding or ring at you as you actually go through the process. And you can set it up using the different notification methods. Of course, would be the 4200 in this case, since it is going to be Wi-Fi compatible with the Hike Thermal app. The detection range is a little bit short, 3 to 6 feet away. Again, is a 1 to 2 meters away from the person. And again, it is going to be one person at a time. This is what the display looks like. So it does have the minimum and maximum in the corner, and you would have the crosshairs of a person. And again, the accuracy level, again, one person at a time, kind of walking through a controlled hallway. Sorry, I skipped that slide real quick. But yeah, walking through the hallway here. So with all of the camera options, we have Hikvision actually sells access control product. If you didn't know, we do actually have a really unique high accuracy thermal camera product that has been added to our facial recognition terminal. This can just be a temperature screening terminal at this point, which it would allow temperature to fire the relay and open the door. You could just set it for just temperature screening. So a single file line, people would walk in. If this is a business and we had doors into the building, this could be put as one of the checkpoints in the building where they actually scan either their card, because it does have a MyFair reader, their face, because it does do facial recognition, and also will gather their temperature. So they need to have a normal temperature as well in order for the door to open. So you could do this as access control. You could do this as just temperature screening terminal by itself. The screen itself is a 7-inch screen. It has the two cameras that'll capture the face, the optical image or your face. Because it's using the thermographic camera, the detection distance is up to 5 feet away from this actual device. It's much more stable in the environment as well, using thermography as the temperature measurement point. We do also have that same face detection algorithm inside that will measure the temperature on the forehead. We don't have to be so close to the device. Again, this will allow for temperature measurements up to about 5 feet away, and it will audibly alert the person who's being measured to the images that you see on the screen. This will be a normal temperature. This would be an abnormal temperature, and if you are using it in the face with facial recognition and using the face in that contactless entry, which I think we're going to see a lot more of this method, contactless entry. You can also get the person's identification will show up there as well. You can see on this other side, we actually have a stranger because they're not listed in the system. So it would be like an unknown person if you were using it in that regard. All right, am I missing anything about this one? This was pretty awesome. Now I do know that this does have a couple of accessories that I want to review with you as well. So there is a stand, floor stand that could be added as a temporary position. We also, or permanently installed, I'm sorry, it could attach to the floor here. So you could put it where there is no doors and just use it as a temperature screening. We also have, and I did not get the picture in because I just got it last night and I apologize, but there's actually a desk mount. So here I'll put a little reception desk and we can actually mount it right there on top. And there's a little mount there and smile, there you go. There you go, sorry. I had to put a little fun in. But so we also have a little desk mount stand for this device too. So at a reception counter, visitors can go up to the counter and actually be to the temperature screening terminal. And or we could use it for an attendance checkpoint as well for our employees. So I better erase that bad drawing there. The other one that I wanted to look at is going to be this one here, the indoor. So this is kind of an intercom station as well. So there is a button here on the bottom. If you are a visitor, if this is in a controlled area in the lobby where you have another door to pass through, you can actually put this, push the button. It would go to this temperature screening tablet. It's an accessory. It's part of the intercom product, the IP intercom product. And so this is monitored. The receptionist or a guard could actually watch this. You can see the history of the last 12, 15 people maybe that have come through on the display. You have more history if you go into the menu, but locally on the display you can see it. You also have a total number of people that have been screened and a total number of people that have an abnormal temperature that are right there on the tablet. And it has intercom functionality, so you could actually unlock the door as well once you, to let a person in. So that's what we have here. So this is a one-to-one operation for right now. So I know that's going to be a question we have. So it's one face terminal to one tablet at the moment. And yeah, so great solution though for that entry point. We also have one more I want to talk about, the thermographic metal detector walkthrough, the similar camera that's going to be up here. And on the display, this will give you the temperature measurements and the total count of people measured as they walk through this device. The camera will be linked to your IVMS 4200 software, and then all of the configuration for the types of metals and so on for the metal detector can be done through this LED touch panel on the screen. Again, we're still looking at the plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit accuracy level. It is the 3 millimeter camera, basically, the same camera. So using this can be also interacted with the 4200 I-Series NVR, so on. All right, and we do have the black body calibration tool. This, I just want to make a real quick mention. So this is the surface area of the a heat source, if you would. And the black body calibration is designed to increase the accuracy level from a plus or minus 0.9 to a plus or minus 0.5 degrees. So the accuracy level is definitely improved. This heat source has to be, on the back of the camera, you're going to set this heat source to say 104 degrees or 99 degrees. And this heat source is going to stay and not fluctuate at all. So the camera, since this will be in the field of view of the camera will be directly across from this, and it'll allow the calibration of the camera to know that this point is always 100 degrees or 104 degrees. So no matter what, I can make my other mathematical calculations based off of that one point of the image that I know is consistently and will not fluctuate to the value of 100, 104, 100 degrees, whatever you set it at. This is not directly connected to the camera in any way. This is visibly in the field of view. You do have to be 1 meter, 2 meters, or 3 meters away from the device, respectively, for the 3, 6, and 13 millimeter cameras. It doesn't have a network connection. It's a physical device. It's a physical plug into the wall. You set the temperature on the back, but it does add to some, you do have to have it hanging in the field of view. People can't walk in front of it, because if you walk in front of it or you block it, you're not getting the same accuracy level. So this does add to some of the complexity, but it does create a better overall accuracy level. So we are able to do and look at some of the accuracy level for plus or minus 0.9 degrees. And again, this is an optional function. If you wanted to add it into the Hikvision solution, we can increase that accuracy level. All right, so I know you took copious notes. You wrote everything down. Fear not, we do have several different tutorials online right now that go through a lot of this stuff that we talked about, the distances, the detection ranges. All of that is available for you. Several different videos kind of showcase this and help you understand the technology and or show the customer as well what it looks like in their environment, or how it would do the temperature screening. We also have several questions that have come up, and I do want to cover some of the FAQs. During the installation, the camera itself should be installed indoors. The cameras can't be used outdoors. The outdoor temperature, direct sunlight, wind, those things can affect the operating temperature of the camera. With the camera's operating temperature, that would vary. Of course, your skin surface temperature can vary as wind blows across your skin, or you're in a direct sunlight. all of those things can actually affect the skin temperature measurement. So we do recommend as an install application or inside application. And we do, recommend that they kind of walk in through a queue or an area, maybe a turn to the right or turn to the left as they walk in, and walk past the camera. There is some warm up time. The camera does have to acclimate to its environment. So we have about 30 minutes for the camera to warm up, to get its own internal temperature, to adjust its own operating temperature to the ambient temperature and the background measurements that it's actually making, and it increases its accuracy level. So with 30 minutes to start that warm up period before you can start calibrating and making those accurate measurements. We also have 5 minutes for the handheld device that we want to be able to allow that to warm up for about 5 minutes. And we want to make sure that you're prepared. This is a company decision, and I've seen some news articles about how our businesses is going to handle this. I've known employees, as they come back to work, are being screened now with either thermometers or thermographic cameras. We've seen several larger companies adopt the idea of temperature screening for their employees as they come back to work, and they try to open up their environment safely as well. So we do have to make sure that the company itself has a means to make a secondary measurement. This is not an approved medical device again, so they shouldn't be basing everything off of the camera. There should be a secondary temperature measurement in there. The subject does have to be within a correct field of view. They shouldn't be making a temperature measurement 10 feet away when the detection range for accuracy level is in between 3 and 5. So you do need to make sure that maybe tape something on the ground, give them stanchions to kind of walk through or whatnot. We've seen a lot of our videos will actually contain that kind of line or cue for them to walk through. And we do want to make sure that people don't overlap and hide faces behind other faces. It will affect the accuracy level, as one head could be behind another head, and then they need to slow down. So the idea is to definitely have a good line of sight. All right, so as that's going to be all for me. I would like to pass it off to Roman Rusnick from the ADI Systems Group for a quick announcement, and then we'll start moving into some of the questions. So Roman, if you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Want to thank everyone for joining the webinar today. Like to thank Michael and Justin with Hikvision. Good webinar. I am Roman Rusnick with the ADI IP Programming Center. I also came from our ADI Systems Design team, been with ADI for about 16 years. Don't forget that the ADI Design team is there to assist you. Product specifications, project build-outs in all the different technologies, supporting all the different vendor partners that ADI partners with. Several years ago, ADI created the IP programming team, and we have locations in Louisville, Kentucky, and Toronto, Canada. It started out in the video surveillance area, where we upgrade firmware and set IP parameters for IP cameras. We've now expanded into programming NVRs, servers, intrusion systems, and have the capability to program other products like IP intercom systems, access control systems, that sort of thing. Really, the benefits include reducing on-site labor by pre-programming the devices, and then maybe having the ability to send a lower-level technician to just mount the camera and save a little labor that way. Eliminating out-of-box failures. We inspect the cameras for physical damage and check for video. We also test the pan, tilt, and zoom functions for PTZ cameras. And then cameras can, and or boxes can be labeled with your specifications, such as camera number or location or even IP address. So that's just a real brief thing. I just wanted to bring up that the service is available, and thank you for joining. IP Center, we stand ready to help your business reduce time and labor. So contact your local branch if you want more information and pricing. Thanks again. Then we'll turn it back.
All right. Thank you, Roman. Thank you very much, and definitely something to check out. I have been to Kentucky, and I need to come by next time I'm there to see what the operation looks like.
No, love to have you.
All right. Well, thanks. So let's go through a couple of questions. I don't know. I've pulled out a couple of questions, and maybe Justin, you've looked at a couple of these. We actually have there's a lot of questions, so we're going to get through some of these. So first one I'll go ahead and take here, warranty. Warranty on the product is the standard warranty like Hikvision products have, the 3-year warranty. If you do have or part of your Hikvision dealer partner program, which is something you should talk to the Hikvision regional sales manager about, we can get 4 or even up to 5 years warranty on the product. So this is just a traditional camera for Hikvision's as far as the warranty goes. All right. We do have a question, and this question gets asked a lot, so I do want to take this one. What are we do see that these are solely intended for indoor use, and so we do recommend that it is installed inside, and we do recommend that they have a path to kind of come inside. So the question is, how do we deal with extremely warm weather and say heat waves, or extremely cold weather, where skin surface temperature can actually be affected by those types of environments? And so, yes, I think you have to think of it the same way of a person who happens to be in a heat wave, who walks 2 steps inside the door, and you put a thermometer, a medical thermometer on his head. He's going to have the same kind of reaction as you would measuring 2 steps inside the door, even with the door open, trying to measure the temperature. His skin surface temperature may be a little bit hotter because he was out in that environment. But the human body does a really good job at acclimating itself to the environment. And so we have seen great success, even on 102-degree days out here in California. They walk in, and they're within 5 to 6 steps inside the door, the temperature, which started at that higher 100 to 99 degrees, within the 5 or 6 steps inside the door, we have seen it kind of acclimate to the environment and produce as a normal temperature reading. Now, every person is going to vary a little bit, right? So we do have anywhere from 3 seconds to some of our documentation says up to 5 minutes that you'll have to have somebody rest. You could imagine if a person is moving from an air-conditioned car, walking 20 steps, versus a person that walked 5 miles from the bus stop, their temperatures are going to be different, as well as body types. Their temperatures are going to be different. A person that runs a marathon may have a higher elevated body temperature for a much longer period of time as his metabolism is worked up. And so he just has to rest a little bit longer than somebody else. So we do see that the accuracy level the thermal camera does do a very, very good job kind of recognizing the environment of where it is, its own operating temperature, and being able to sense the objects in the field of view. It is still measuring temperature per se, or calculating temperature on all of the objects. So it does have a great advanced algorithm to kind of adjust, and the body does a great job at adjusting to those kind of environments. So anywhere from 3 seconds to 30 seconds to a minute to 5 minutes at the maximum. Those are kind of the scale that we see in those kinds of environments. The black body temperature. So we have a power requirement for the black body, 12 volt DC. This is a traditional plug into the wall. I believe it's a 12 volt DC connector. 110, 220 for the AC power I get is totally fine. It's just a regular 12 volt 2 amp power supply, I think, or 1.5 amp power supply. You will want to purchase that separately as well, so that you have it on hand. The face detection algorithm we have a couple of questions here that I want to cover for the face terminal. The face detection algorithm does not actually trigger the intercom interface for like a contactless interface. So if they do, or it is a visitor and they want to push the button for intercom, unfortunately we have no other way around that but pushing the button currently right now. We also had a question about the accuracy level with facial recognition on this terminal in regards to people wearing masks. The face terminal does have a mask or no mask function as well. I totally missed that, so I appreciate you asking this question. The face terminal does have a mask or no mask function as well. So it can be a soft mask warning, mean normal temperature, you're not wearing a mask, I'm gonna tell you you're not wearing a mask and I'll let you come through. So that's a soft warning. And then we have normal temperature and a hard warning, no mask detection, please wear a mask or I'm not gonna let you in. So that's gonna be a face mask hard warning. So you could have either one of those, a soft warning or a hard warning inside the face screening terminal, face temperature screening terminal. Sorry, we need to get another name for that one. As far as the accuracy level for facial recognition, so the facial recognition, I mean, majority of your face is actually covered. So there is a similarity value that you can set, and you do normally have it set higher when you have no mask on. You're going to set it to the 80-90 percentile range. The algorithm has been adjusted to focus more on hairline features, eyebrow features, distance of eyes and ears maybe, but the algorithm still, its similarity value would have to be lowered. I believe there's like a lower value of about 60%, as opposed to 80 or 90 for the facial recognition side of it. So. All right. Easiest camera. So again, all of the cameras are going to be plus or minus 0.9 degrees Fahrenheit for accuracy level. There is a way to set a different threshold value higher than that. If you need to, you can set a medium or even a high level for a pre-alarm and a post-alarm level. We can use both the visible light image. The visible light is going to be wider than the field of view of the thermal, and that's why we have the blue square to kind of tell you where the thermal camera is within the optical side. So during the setup, it's going to make it a little bit easier for that to happen. We do also offer the image overlay. So one thing that we can do with the thermal and the optical together is we make the thermal image much more detailed by taking the visible light details and overlaying them on top of the thermal image. So we can get a lot of the details and, you know, read people's shirts. We can actually see through windows. And if you've heard, thermal can't see through glass, but using the optical camera and the thermal camera, we could actually see through glass by overlaying the details on top of that thermal image. So the thermal image would be able to see through glass. It's, you know, it's an overlay. It's not actually seen through glass, but I think you can understand the point. All right. All of these, as far as there's a couple of questions that I'm going through here about availability. So definitely the products are available. You want to contact ADI for the pricing because there's some pricing questions. You definitely want to contact ADI for your price. You can quote any one of our or use any one of our model numbers and actually ask the ADI rep to see what that cost is and what the availability is. When the object is ordered through ADI, our RSM will be contacted. Our customer service team will put together a project registration for you so that we make sure that we can hold the goods for this particular project. And be able to help with the shipping timeline and more if there is limited availability. But for right now, we're seeing some great sales and we're seeing some great availability at this moment in time. But definitely contact your local ADI device or contact your local ADI distribution branch for more information.